This story happened nearly 10 years ago. At that time, I lived in the city, but summers there were too hot. I wanted to escape and see the countryside, to walk in the woods and enjoy the fresh air. One evening, I took my small red car and a map and began my journey. I drove all night, feeling free and excited. The countryside was beautiful in the early morning. The sun was bright, the sky was clear, and I could hear birds singing in the trees. Suddenly, my car stopped. I checked and realized I had no petrol left. I looked at my map, hoping to find the nearest town, but there was nothing close. I was lost in the countryside. Then, I saw a girl walking down the road, holding a bouquet of flowers. She wore a long dress, and her dark hair shone under the sun. She was beautiful. I wanted to talk to her, so I got out of my car. "Hello," I said. "I'm lost. Can you tell me where I am?" She looked nervous, so I spoke gently. "I ran out of petrol. Do you know where I can find some?" She looked at me with her deep blue eyes and smiled. "I don't know," she said, "but come with me to the village. Maybe someone there can help you." I followed her happily. We walked for a long time. I checked my map again. Strange, there is no village here. Maybe it's too small to be on the map. But when we arrived, I saw that it was a real village. The houses were old but beautiful, made of black and white wood. The streets were peaceful, and there were many animals around. It was like a place from another time. The girl stopped at a house and smiled at me. "Please, come in," she said. Inside, the house was small but very clean. A fire burned in the fireplace, and food was cooking over it. I suddenly felt hungry. That's strange, I thought. They cook food over a wood fire. Maybe they don't have gas or electricity. I met her parents, and they were kind people, but their clothes looked very old-fashioned, as if they were from another century. The old man asked me to sit down. "Are you thirsty after your walk?" he said. Then he gave me a drink. "Thank you," I said, but when I tasted it, I was surprised. The drink was dark brown and very strong. It tasted different from anything I had ever had before. Even though everything felt unusual, I was happy there. I asked about petrol, but the old man looked confused. "Petrol?" he asked. "What is that?" I was surprised. "Do you have no cars here?" I asked. The old man smiled. "No, we use horses," he said. "Horses? That's so slow. Why don't they have cars?" I thought, but I didn't say anything. I spent the whole day in the village. I ate dinner with them, and later, the girl and I walked outside into the garden. Her name was Elena. "This is nice," she said. "We don't have many visitors. It makes us happy when someone comes." She was very beautiful, and I enjoyed talking to her. But after a while, her face became sad, and she spoke quietly. "Why are you sad?" I asked. She hesitated. Then she whispered, "I cannot tell you. You are only a visitor here. But tonight, we must say goodbye. You must leave before morning." I didn't understand. I loved her, and I wanted to stay. "Why do I have to leave?" I asked. Elena looked at me with sad eyes. "Please," she said softly. "It's dangerous here." I was confused. but I decided to listen to her. "I will go to the next town and get petrol," I said. "But I will come back for you." She didn't answer. "I love you, Elena," I said. "I will return. You won't stop me." She stood at the door, watching as I left. Her face was full of sadness, and my heart ached. At midnight, I walked through the dark countryside. After a long journey, I finally saw the lights of a town. I found a petrol station and filled my can. Then I asked the man there about the village. He gave me a strange look. "What village?" he asked. I described it to him. The old houses, the people with their strange clothes, the quiet streets. The man's expression changed. He hesitated, then spoke. "There was a village there, a long time ago, but it's not there anymore." I felt a chill down my spine. "What do you mean?" I asked. "There was a big fire. It happened hundreds of years ago," the man said. "Everyone in the village died. The army of Oliver Cromwell burned it down because the villagers supported the king during the war." I couldn't believe it. "No, that's impossible," I said. "I was just there. I talked to them. I stayed in their homes." The man looked at me carefully and lowered his voice. "There is a story about that place," he said. "They say that every 10 years, for one day, the village returns, but only for one day. After that, it disappears again for another 10 years. I froze. "You must be mistaken," I said. "I met them. I met Elena." The man shook his head. "You are lucky," he said. "If you had stayed until morning, you would have never left." Then I remembered the strange clothes, the food over the fire, the way they didn't understand what petrol was. I remembered Elena's sad voice. "You must leave before morning." She knew. She had been trying to save me. I ran back to the place where the village had been. But when I arrived, there was nothing. No houses, no streets, no people, only empty fields, flowers swaying in the wind, and the sound of birds in the trees. I fell to my knees and cried. I will never forget that day. I will never forget her. Now, I only have to wait 2 more months. The village will come back again, and this time, when I find her, I will not leave before morning. I will stay with Elena forever.